Labour hates us, stamp duty, interest rates, inflation, and a whole load more. When is it that we have to accept that property is just a bad investment? I think when we break down, when is something a bad investment? When do you have to swallow your pride? When does it, all this stuff that's coming in is, you need to look at the fundamentals of why you're investing in the first place. When there's movement outside, it's more of a tactical movement rather than a fundamental movement. So for example, let's play some out. Interest rate changes. So when interest rates go up, first of all, why are they going up? Usually to settle inflation, but this is not an economics video to break that down. When interest rates go up, in the most simplest of terms, what does that mean? It gets more expensive for us to own and hold the property, right? If we take on the same amount of debt. For example, if we buy a £200,000 property and 75% of it is a mortgage, 150 grand interest only, and it's 5% interest, well, that 5% equates to £7,500 a year. If it's 10% interest, all things being equal, buying the 200 grand house, 150 grand debt, now cost us £15,000. Now, that's quite a random range there, quite a big one. But if it goes from 5 to 6%, that extra 1% is £1,500 a year or £125 per month. And that 125 can be the difference between profit and loss making on a buy-to-let property. Another big one recently is stamp duty. The Labour government, my best mate, Keir Starmer, not my friend, by the way, not my best friend at all, but Keir Starmer comes out and goes, all these fucking brilliant ideas, all of these changes are going to happen in April, but then stamp duty is going to go 2% up, effective tomorrow, motherfuckers. Okay, we are not messing around. Tomorrow's the day that it happens. And so 2% more. Holy shit. Let's say you're buying a 250 grand property. You're already paying X on stamp duty. But if you complete tomorrow onwards, it's now going to cost you another £5,000. Just like, yeah, no worries. I'll buy fucking £20 down the pub and then £5,000 fucking pounds. It's like, right, okay. Getting less and less desirable here, isn't it? And then, of course, EPC changes, governance changes, Section 21. Am I selling property to you? The reason I say this is everything that something happens in general is going to create fluctuations in the market. So I've just listed a load of things that could be against buy-to-let being a good property. But let's play that out a little bit. So let's say then that makes it slightly less desirable or way less desirable, whatever your opinion is on it, because it is an opinion, to be a buy-to-let investor. So what then happens is that the private rental sector might alleviate. So in general, in the UK, 60% of the properties, give or take, are owned with either a mortgage or without one, and 40% is rental. Of that 40%, 21%, give or take, is private rental, people like us. 19% is social housing, the government, right? And it's been that 60-40 split for quite a long time, about 100 years to be fair. The only thing that's changed is the private rental sector has obviously gone up since 1991 when buy-to-let's become an official thing. What happens then if you make it less desirable to be a buy-to-let investor? Well, factually, there will be less buy-to-let investors. Now, not by a huge margin. Let's say that 21% becomes 20%, okay? So that 1% movement, give or take, represents a couple of 100,000 properties. Okay, that 1% change is a couple of 100,000 if it goes from 21 to 20. So if there's 200,000 less private rentals, is it going to be that suddenly there's 200,000 more social housing? No. So let's say that their demand for rentals, i.e. from tenants, is the same. Then what happens? Well, basic economics. When supply is higher than the demand, which it already is, prices naturally go up. So if there's 200,000 less properties available for the tenants that want them, what happens to rental prices? It goes up. When inflation comes back down, which is it's starting to, what happens to interest rates? It comes down. When interest rates come down, does it cost you more or less to own the property? Less. How many landlords do you know that increase their rentals, everything fixed in the background, and then they suddenly drop their rent back down? None. Nobody does that. And so the reality and why I'm saying this is, in short from this video, a little bit of clickbait for you, is it never becomes a bad investment. It adapts in the short term, things change in the long term, but the fundamentals don't change. So think about what investment is in the first place. Investment is about preserving wealth. Okay, so if I have 200,000 in my bank right now, leaving it in the bank does not preserve wealth because of something called inflation. And inflation is eroding the value of that money. So we invest it to preserve the wealth. And how do we do that? We invest it in assets, gold, property, the FTSE 100, or dare I say it, Bitcoin. Dun dun dun. So we have all these different assets. And you have to look at the fundamentals. So you wouldn't just go, oh, a share of a business is there, I'll just go and buy that share. That's not how it works. Does it have solid fundamentals? Which for me, I look at the target criteria. So the type of property, the area, has it got regeneration? Has it got growth? Are there existing properties there? What's the tenant type? What's the industry, the infrastructure? What's investments going on there? And what's the politics in the area? All of these fundamentals of an area that essentially go, is it a desirable place to live and work and play? And if it is a good place to live, work and play, then demand will be there. Or is it suddenly going to be that loads of properties suddenly pop up? Well, in most areas, the answer is no. Therefore, demand for that area will continue to be high and go up and up and up. Supply in that area will naturally go up as well, but will never keep up with the demand. To give you an idea, we can legally only build on about 6% of the land in the UK, and we actually only build on 3% of the land because the cost of building on that additional 3% would be absolutely monumental because there's no bloody utilities anywhere near it. And so we'd need government funding to make that viable. So viable land in the UK that we could build on is 3%. We currently have a 1.5 million unit housing shortage. Do you really think we give a fuck about the inflation, the interest rate, EPC changes, Section 21 reform? No, the market changes. It adapts, and we change or die with it. And this is the thing. The window of opportunity is right now. Warren Buffett says it incredibly well. He says you've got to be fearful whilst others are greedy and be greedy whilst others are fearful. And all of these changes creates fear. Look at the magazines, the newspapers selling that fear, getting us all bought in because we all buy based on fear. And instead, people with a level head look to take advantage of this opportunity. So property is also an inflation hedge that we want to take account of. So the reason I particularly like boring vanilla buy-to-lets is the assets, the bricks, the mortar, the land that you own is really powerful. And I can't remember who said this quote. It's like, then land's an amazing investment because they're not building any more of it. And I really love that. It's such a true thing. Do you believe, and you can answer yes or no here, do you believe we're suddenly going to get more land in the UK? No. Do you believe that people are suddenly going to want to not live in the UK? And I don't mean about saving tax and all of that. I mean, in the majority, are people going to want to continue to live in the UK? Yes, obviously. It's one of the most stable economies in the world. It's been going for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's the financial centre of the world as of today. It's going to continue to be good. Are people going to want to live in properties? Do people want a roof over their head? Yes. Can everybody naturally afford to own a house? No. Do you ever see that changing? No. Therefore, do you believe people will want to rent forever? Yes. A segment of people will want to rent. And in fact, by the way, that percentage of renters in the private rental sector, the demand is getting higher and higher and higher and higher. It's 21% as of today in the private rental sector. 5 years ago, it was around 5% less at 16%. That is a 30% growth over that period, okay? When I mean fundamentals, it's will they change? And I don't know what strategy will be best in the next 6 months, the next 5 weeks, anything like that. But what I do know is people are going to want a roof over their heads and their kids' heads. What I do know is that immigration is absolutely huge right now. And so there are more and more and more and more people that the government is trying to house right now. I know everyone's got their opinion of that. I'm talking factually, though. What is the same for us is the funding from the government is there and getting stronger and stronger and stronger because they want to populate the UK with workers and get earning money for us. The fundamentals don't change. We have a massive supply shortage. Therefore, prices economically need to go up. The reality is, how do you navigate these challenges? How do you navigate affordability? How do you navigate economic shocks? How do you navigate oversupply in the market, climate change, environmental policies? The reality is you have to be at the forefront of the market. You either need to be well-read, watch channels like this, dialogue all the time with people that are in the market, or pay for other people to do it for you. Okay, and that's your choice. If you are watching this and you're looking to educate yourself, which obviously you are, hopefully you're getting value. Subscribe to the channel. If you're thinking you need a bit more of an in-depth chat, and no obligation here, by the way, but if you're in a position to buy property, in my areas, this is going to be about 100 grand. You could start your portfolio, so 2 properties with 100 grand. And you just want a bit of guidance, a bit of advice, a bit of a strategy session, and maybe we can actually help you build that portfolio, put APG in the comments. I'm opening up some free one-to-one strategy sessions. And on these strategy sessions, we'll go through where you're at and where you want to get to with your property portfolio. And if we're a good fit, I will help you get there. Of course, we charge a fee to do that. But if not, you just leave with a bit of a plan of action to implement yourself. But before you start building your portfolio, just make sure you've got the best information available one way or another. And if you want to have a chat with me or my team, put APG and I'll send you a link. I went on a bit of a rant there, didn't I? Didn't really intend for this video to be a rant. I think it's because if you think about when you're investing, like, in fact, like, answer in the comments for this or just reflect on it if you want to. If you're looking to invest in property, when are you looking to sell it? Like, when you're buying your buy-to-let, when are you looking to sell it? Most of you will be similar to me. Like, my exit is death, and people laugh at that. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, I don't have any kids that I know of, but I don't have any kids right now. So it's like, but when I have kids, the properties will go to them, and then assuming they'll lose 50% of that in their first divorce, right? But it's like, so they're going to get it. It's going to be handed down. That's the idea. So I'm 33 right now. Let's say I live till fucking 80. Hope so. Or my team, maybe like 45. So it's like, say 80 years old. Is there going to be shit that happens over the next 50 years? Yeah. Do you think there'll be new governments? Yeah. Do you think there'll be good ones with some great policies? Less likely, it seems. But yes. Are there going to be some really fucking stupid ones with terrible policies that are going to hurt me? Yes. Is it going to remain true that there's going to be a housing supply shortage? Yes. There is no government in the last 20 years that's ever been able to close that gap, and they won't. It gets worse and worse. Is there going to be rental market resilience? Yeah, the only way is up, baby. I promise you, 2025, 2026, rents are going up. If you're listening to this, this is not financial advice, but it's closest I think I can get. If you don't own a property, fucking change it. I promise you, I reckon we've only got 5 years between now and 5 years for people to actually get on the market. I really do suggest that. The flexibility and the strategies, is that going to change? No. Is it ever going to stop being a great long-term investment? No. So, listen, you do you, but I really do mean this for like trying to help every single person here build their wealth. Stop listening to newspapers. Stop listening to magazines where their only benefit is selling fear. The reality is, instead of focusing on the economy, focus on your economy. Okay, you cannot control external factors. You can only control your wealth, your house, your vision, your investments, your assets, and your gold producing your silver. And the reality is, if you want to make that happen, you've got to take action. And that doesn't have to be with me, by the way. Start building it on your own. Start educating yourself. Do you, all right? If you want to chat about how you can maybe make some smart moves, get a bit of strategy behind your investment philosophy, we're opening up some strategy calls. Being upfront with you, yes, if we feel we're right with each other, I'll say, hey, look, I can help you build your portfolio. This is what we charge to do that hands-free. But genuinely, no pressure at all. If we're not right for each other, I just want to give you a bit of guidance. So if you want to have a chat, put APG in the comments. That's Aspire Property Group, APG. I'll send you a link, book in a call. Hope this has been valuable, even if it was a bit of a rant in this. But this is about taking advantage of the window of opportunity. And the reality is, the best time to buy property was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So time to take action. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'd love to see you back. And hopefully you did get value. And if you did, hit that like button and I'll see you in the next video.